This is my second week of studying French, and here's my progress so far. Bonjour, je m'appelle Slava et je viens du Saint-Pétersbourg. Mais maintenant, j'habite à Brisbane, Australie. J'ai une sœur, elle s'appelle Hélène. Aussi, j'ai une femme, j'ai un fils et une fille. J'aime lire des livres et j'aime aller au cinéma. C'est tout. Merci beaucoup. À bientôt. So that was my second week progress for my 6 months challenge studying French, and I've done some progress so far, I guess. So my main goal for this week was keep working with Duolingo application. That's the first thing that I just dedicate most of my time, around 30, maybe 60 minutes even per day. Second week was more interesting and challenging because Duolingo started to implement more grammar exercises, so there are more things with the verbs, irregular verbs as well, especially like at the ending of the verbs. Also, what was the most difficult part probably is that they pay too much attention to la and le articles. So depending on the masculine or feminine form of the word, you should use one of the particular article. And in case the whole sentence, like a 3 to 5 words, is correct, but the only kind of one thing is messed up with the article, that sentence is not correct. So it's just a big issue, especially like you just probably have to only memorize it. That's the only thing that you can do with those articles. Other thing I worked on was Coffee Break French podcast. So for this week, I listened to 3 new podcasts. They were great addition to my Duolingo experience, because podcast is more kind of listening skill. Yeah, I also try to repeat whatever they say in the podcast. And the words and vocabulary is very similar to the beginning, for the beginner levels that I can get from Duolingo, but it's just a bit different angle of studying. Also, just one more thing, that I used last week was one of the grammar course from Le Français de Trou. That's more for kind of native Russians to try and speak and teach French. And what I like about this, this is kind of A1 level, right? So they pay so much attention to details and pronunciation, kind of different particular letters and how they should sound in a word. Which is really kind of one of the challenge for French, because you just write something and it sounds a bit different when you try to read it. And what I found interesting about this course, that it's the first one that they mentioned. I haven't heard it from any other sources. They mentioned that in French, you basically have to combine a few words together in a phrase. So you cannot read them separately. It's like when you try to read some simple like je m'appelle Slava. You cannot read each word separately with the kind of stress on each word. So you better kind of, to sound like a native, you have to combine them together and put the stress at the last last word in a phrase. So instead of saying je m'appelle Slava, it's better to say je m'appelle Slava or je m'appelle Slava. Maybe I'm not just as good at showing this as an example, but it's just one of the kind of features of French. And if you just listen to any other kind of native speakers, they just combine, they just change a bit of the endings in the beginning of the word when they use these phrases when they speak. So that's it for this week. Next week would be a good fun. It would be the end of the year, end of December. So I hope that I will have a bit more time for studying and spend a bit more time with my French, and hope to share something next week as well. So thanks for listening, and salut!